aren't you? Tell us about your character in that at the moment. You're in the West End, aren't you?
Yes, I'm playing Scout in Ben Elton's Popcorn, and she's fantastic. She's white trailer trash, Tennessee girl who basically she's very like, they're based loosely on natural born killers, but they're very much more, I think, like the characters in something like Wild at Heart, Laura Dern and Nicolas Cage, where they'll die for each other. So they're sort of both of them mass murderers, but they're very nice mass murderers. I mean,
if you can be nice mass
well,
murderers.
there's nothing wrong with killing someone if they diss your man, you know. But she's very religious, she's very pious, and she's actually very funny. She gets nice deadpan humour.
Is it hard work working in the West End? Because, you know, you're doing a lot of shows night after night. Yeah. And, of course, you're saying about a strain perhaps on your voice as well.
Yeah, it's hard because, well, for me the accent's quite grating, but also it's just a lot of, you know, sort of certain scenes are very shouty and very belty. And it's 8 shows a week. It's not, if it was just in the evenings. And also, you have to go out for a couple of drinks after the show, and also I like to keep busy in the day too, so it's quite hard work, yeah.
And what does the future hold for you, Charlotte?
Oh, well, I hope that some film work will come popping my way. I mean, I'm very happy doing theatre as well, but I think it's quite nice to always do little bits of everything.
The big screen's now your aim, is it?
I haven't done the big screen yet, so that'd be nice.
Excellent, lovely. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank
we'll
you.
wish you all the best with Popcorn.
Thank you very much.
And let's take another look at a scene from this life.
Look, I'll see you tonight and I'll try not to be late.
Look, I know you think I'm shirking, and you're right. I'm gonna get a job, I promise you.
Only if it's what you want.
It is. It'll be cool. I just need to sort everything out.
I'll see you tonight.
I'm back on track.
Building Enfield Island Village, which is London's largest brownfield housing development. Its 100-acre site on an island in Enfield Loch features 1,300 homes. The first phase is now substantially complete and is selling well. However, there's a problem. The residents of a nearby private road say they found out by accident that access to the new homes would use part of their road, making it part of the development and suddenly very busy. So they've erected a barrier which effectively blocks the access.
We just feel this is a classic David and Goliath syndrome, where we're the little people having to put up a real manic fight to save our rights and look after our children, with a large company showing just blatant bully boy tactics without any regard to our property, our families or our rights.
Fairview Homes issued an injunction to try to have the barrier taken down, but the hearing on Tuesday was won by the residents. So the barrier stays. But it also blocks one of the entrances to a pub car park. Tension in the street is running high as landlord Tommy Young from the Rifles pub confronts some of the residents.
Oh, come on. Hold your hands up. And it's smart. And it a lot smarter. You had no lights down the road.
But it wasn't a rubbish tip.
What about no lights down the road? Don't be stupid. Hang on. No lights down the road? No. Where's your glasses? This end. I'm not arguing about in that end. You're arguing about this end.
A new access to the development is being built, but it won't be ready until at least October. Fairview Homes said they were unwilling to comment at present because of the prospect of more court action soon. Both the residents and Fairview Homes say they'll be happy to sit down and talk this through, although for the moment no plans for a meeting have been made. In the meantime, the battle for Enfield Loch continues. Tony O'Rourke, Channel 1, Enfield.
The strike starts at 6:30 on Sunday night, that's for certain, but quite how it'll affect commuters is not so clear. London Underground says it'll run as full a service as possible. Past experience shows commuters might not be badly hit. When members of the RMT union went on strike on the Northern Line last March, services were only slightly reduced. This time the industrial action takes in the entire network, so commuters are much more at risk. If you're not prepared to take a gamble and decide to drive to work, expect severe congestion on the roads. Traffic here on the Euston Road is bad at the best of times, and on Monday it'll get even worse. The AA says you should leave your car at home, but if you insist on driving, why not share the journey with friends and colleagues? There are unlikely to be more buses and trains laid on, as they're normally all being used during the rush hour. If you decide to go to work on two wheels, do take care though. Not only will traffic be heavier, but rain is forecast. You can also get up early and walk to work if you can. Then again, it's England's World Cup debut on Monday. It's tempting to take the day off work and watch the big match at home. Ian Waugh, Channel 1, Tottenham Court Road.
This is what the Civic Centre car park used to look like. But now it's an oasis of greenery, thanks to the turf that's been parked there. The newly laid lawn will be the backdrop to a series of events throughout Green Transport Week. The launch speech by Glenda Jackson gave government support to the event, organised by the Environmental Transport Association, ETA.
There is no one policy, there is no one action that is actually going to transform the situation and offer us all real choice as far as travelling around is concerned. But there can be a basket of policies, of activities that can really bring about the change, which I believe the country wants to see. We can't go on the way we are, we have to change.
The Minister was shown around some of the eco-friendly transport alternatives on show. Sutton Council's doing its bit by using 5 hatchbacks with a difference. They're electric. Also unveiled was London's first public charging point for the vehicles.
It's certainly not a gimmick. They are used in council business day to day. We've been using them for some time, and we're going to have electric vehicles for our Meals on Wheels vans, so that's a very real and important use.
Sutton won the chance to host the launch because of the council's track record in combating pollution. But is the free public charging point any use when only the council has electric vehicles?
I was one of the first people in the country to use unleaded petrol in my car. I had to have a spare can in my car of unleaded fuel because many counties in the country simply didn't sell unleaded fuel. I had to make sure that my car was able to go in countries that didn't have it. So although it was a gimmick in those days, now it is taken as normal.
Everyone involved is adamant that the efforts the council's made in launching Green Transport Week are far from just gimmicks. And Sutton is one of the local authorities that's been determined to lead by example in the fight for cleaner transport. But the fact remains that at the end of the week, all this turf behind me will revert back to a car park. Rob Gould, Channel 1, Sutton.
Arise, Sir Geoff Hurst, the man whose name will be forever linked to England's successful '66 World Cup squad, receives a knighthood in the birthday honours for his contribution to football. The former England and West Ham player scored the only World Cup final hat-trick and was voted Player of the Year 3 times between 1966 and 1969. Linford Christie is Britain's most successful athlete ever, and he's been rewarded with an OBE. The sprinter from West London completed the rare feat of holding all 4 major honours simultaneously: the Olympic, World, Commonwealth and European titles. He won a record of 23 medals at major championships, 10 of them gold. Sally Gunnell's OBE comes just a fortnight after the birth of her first child, Finlay. Gunnell, who like Christie had previously been honoured with the MBE, was crowned 400 metres hurdles champion at the Barcelona Olympics in 1992. She then dominated her event for the next 2 seasons, breaking the world record when winning the World Championship in 1993. The 31-year-old from Essex completed the first Grand Slam by a British woman by adding the European and Commonwealth titles in 1994. There's also an MBE for battling 800-metre runner Kelly Holmes from Middlesex, who's hoping to emulate Christie and Gunnell's Olympic success at the 2000 Games in Sydney. Heavyweight world boxing champion Lennox Lewis gets an MBE, as does cricket's Surrey and England captain Alex Stewart. From the world of showbiz, June Whitfield adds a CBE to her OBE, while veteran actor Leslie Phillips said the sun came out when he heard about his OBE. Also honoured is Princess Diana's favourite dancer, ballet star Wayne Sleep. He said he could have danced all night after hearing of his OBE.
The misery for commuters could be enormous. A two-day strike which began at 6:30 last night threatens to bring the entire underground system to a halt. Members of the RMT union are fearful of plans to partially privatise the tube, saying their jobs could be on the line. The industrial action will affect millions of Londoners who are likely to find it tough getting to work. Many will be tempted to go by car, but the AA says don't, as you'll simply add to the congestion on the roads. If there's no alternative but to drive, you could share the journey with friends and colleagues. There are unlikely to be more buses and trains, as they're normally all used during the rush hour. Two-wheel travel might appeal, but take care of extra traffic and possible rain. Then again, with England's World Cup debut just a few hours away, many are staying at home to watch the big match. Ian Ward, Channel 1, Central London.
Hello, this week we're looking at the new wave of comedy. It's new, it's cool and very occasionally it's side-splitting. All across London, new comedy clubs are opening up and eager young comics are just dying to make us laugh. I've been out to pubs and clubs to find out what's behind the rise of comedy. But first, I wanted to find out what makes Londoners laugh. Do you know any good jokes?
Newcastle United, that's a good joke. Bear goes into a pub and says, I'll have a pint of beer and a packet of crisps. And the barman says, why the long pause?
Watching my friend Paul brush his hair in the morning. That's nothing that makes me laugh.
What makes me laugh is when I fall off a chair. Because I like doing that.
Why does it make you laugh?
Because I think it's funny.
Funny things people say, and watching small children and animals and lambs gambling and natural things.
Sarcasm.
Old British humour.
Why?
50s movies. Why? Because it's clever humour.
What makes you laugh?
You?
Never knew it could be so funny. Now let's get down to the clubs and see the real comics in action. Here at the Purple Turtle Bar in Islington, budding comics turn up every week to see if they've got what it takes to survive a tryout comedy night. But remember, you can make them laugh, or you could die and end at the butt of everyone's jokes, including your own.
My name is Paddy, I'm your compere for the evening, and two things about tonight. It's new act night, basically, and two things. The acts aren't paid to be here, and you didn't pay to get in. So all I ask is that you give them a little bit of love and attention.
The night's billed as turtily hilarious. Get it? The jokes come thick and fast, you just might not get all of them. Paddy's the compere, the only buffer between the comics and the audience leaving.
See you, mate. Yeah, I know. You were lovely. Yeah, love and care. He's a lovely man, and he's on his way home, which is a pity, because he's a lovely man.
A nice pep talk gets them in the right frame of mind.
It was a joke. It's a joke. It's a comedy night. Jokes happen, all right? I'm sorry you happen to be in the front. What you need to do is look at me, then I ignore you. You don't look at me, then I have a go. That's the way it works, all right? So you people, are you ready for some comedy? Oh look, what I'm trying to do is gently and gradually build up the atmosphere to one just above morgue level.
Now meet Max, art editor of Mayfair magazine and not quite a comedy virgin, but he's still waiting to make his mark on the stand-up scene.
I went to see a spiritualist. It's so difficult to choose. You don't know whether they're any good or not. In the end, I arrived at a happy medium. Turned out she just won the lottery. Again. I went to Italy, met a palm reader. She said she could read my palm. Well, she couldn't, because my palm's in English. I'm not too sure about palm reading. With that sort of thing, you've really got to read between the lines.
Clearly for some, comedy will remain a perpetual mystery. So how does Max feel he went down?
I actually forgot my stuff. I managed to resurrect it. I remembered most of it. I got it in the wrong order, and I got horrendously put off by the professional heckler who managed to soak up absolutely all the ambience that I was trying to give out, you know, all the love, all the empathy that I was pouring out. He got it all.
It's tough getting laughs from hardened punters.
I think the worst things might be some really bad things like getting beaten up on stage.
Between the acts, the compere smooths the way to the next comedy sacrifice.
Sometimes it sucks the life from your very soul. It can be great, it can be really nice sometimes, it can be really into it, and then you get nights like tonight when it is just a battle. It really is.
And after the interval, another victim.
Welcome onto this stage, the one and only Adrian Rocks! Yes! Come on!
I used to be an accountant, but I'm all right now.
Get your coat, get your hat, get a taxi and go.
Thank you.
And finally, what do the audience make of the comic supremos?
I find the comedy here tonight hard and abrupt.
It used to be really good when Richard used to compare. I've got to be honest, he was a drag artist. And he used to compare here, and it was so good.
It's the best boozer in London, and the comedy here is great. But comedy in general is horrible.
Now let's say like Max, you survived the pub circuit, but that doesn't mean you'll reach the heady heights of stardom just yet. It takes time. Two comics who've just made it out of the pubs and clubs and onto the telly are Baz and Phil. They've suffered the catcalls and have come out alive and a little older and wiser.
Size 10 fish, please.
I think, sir, it's confusing us with a shoe shop. We sell sole, but not shoes.
Okay, can I have a size 10 sole?
We're partners. Partners in a travelling pygmy circus freak show, which tours small retirement homes in the Woodhere area of Surrey.
And of course, we're deeply in love.
I was a master of espionage, a master of disguise. If you just wait there a moment, I can show you exactly why.
Excuse me, sir. Hello there. Do you mind if I just ask you a couple of questions?
No.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would this be a product that you'd use?
Well, we're going to be doing 4 programmes for the Paramount Comedy Channel, which we're going to be filming in June, which we're very pleased about. They're just chances to take our characters onto locations and you develop them into 5-minute pieces, which we hope will work out well.
Oh, the old man. You see, it's just a fake beard and a fake Cockney accent. It's the perfect crime.
I first met Wittgenstein at dinner at King's in 1935. I turned to him and said, "Marvellous venison this evening."
That's a fish with some guacamole on its head. Yeah. Right. Okay. I think he's had enough. Quite honestly.
You try and learn. You learn your jokes. You learn your routine. You try and plan it down to the final kind of comma, full stop. Go out there and try and deliver it as if you've just kind of thought of it off the top of your head.
Hello again. Right, careful of the curb there. Yes, I know. I'd just like to ask you a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
No,
come here. What are you scared about?
Hecklers are a big problem. I mean, you know, it's good that people go along to heckle, but you do get psychopathic hecklers.
He's doubling back. It's all right. Careful there, you're fine. Sir, could you just stop for a moment, please?
Doctors on the Box is like, it's 2 doctors who are sort of heavily influenced by American TV sitcom.
When can we do something more exciting?
Just like we used to in the olden days, eh, Quincy?
Hey!
We bring a certain intensity of performance, perhaps. It's like Quincy on some very fast-acting drug.
There's a girl at 5th Street General. I took her for arms and legs the other day and transplanted her torso onto a pig's abdomen.
And who knows? You know, I mean, a feature film may just be around the corner.
Yeah.
We haven't actually discussed that at all yet, really, have we?
No, we haven't. Because it probably won't happen.
It's worth thinking about, though, isn't it?
Well, now is apparently the best time to be working on your act. But remember, it's the club owners who decide whether you're coming back to do a paid slot after the tryout night. And not everyone gets invited back. It takes time to establish yourself on the comedy circuit.
The wonderful world of balloon swallowing. Now, when I do this, a lot of men in the audience are going to turn to their wives or girlfriends and go, "See, it is possible."
It's tricks like this that have made Keith Fields a favourite on the comedy circuit. He's one of the established comics Jongleurs Comedy Club in Battersea can rely on to get laughs.
It's very difficult to get started nowadays. I actually started as a street entertainer, and that's going back some 15 years, believe it or not, working in Covent Garden. And then winter came, and I decided it would be much better to work indoors rather than outdoors, where it was warmer, and you didn't have to struggle to get an audience because the audience had paid to see you, which is much nicer.
Are you still there?
Oh, the worst experience I ever had was about, must have been 13 or 14 years ago. I was working in a traditional northern club, and I had this vague idea that I could actually go out there and absolutely storm it. I had no idea what it was going to be like. I'd been on stage for about 15 minutes. I was meant to be doing a 45-minute set, and I'd probably done every piece of material, every joke I could possibly think of, and the club secretary came up and knocked on the front of the stage. He went on the front of the stage, right in front of everyone, and went like this: "Call it a day, they don't like you." Vincent van Gogh on his holidays. No one ever gets anywhere in this business without dying many, many times. That's how you learn. It's as simple as that. You have to go up on stage, you have to die, you have to do it again, and eventually those that are still doing it 10 years later have learned by their experiences, have got good, and that's how it goes.
Jongleurs are constantly on the lookout for new comics. So how does the established comic feel?
Really green is fine, really fresh is fine, really funny, I hate them. Because you see these, they appear on the circuit from nowhere, and all of a sudden they're hilarious, and everyone's talking about them. Basically it's just good, it's good for the circuit. Usually when you talk to them afterwards, you find out they've been working all around the place and developing their stuff, and they've just been holding back.
It's fantastic. There's so many people now finding an opportunity to perform with a reason to be able to perform. I think there were many people that wanted to, but found it very difficult to get into the entertainment medium. And now, by doing stand-up, everybody can write their own material, they can practice, they can actually be paid while they're practicing, and they can make a very good living out of it once they become very good stand-ups.
A worm meeting.
They encourage new talent with open mic nights.
First of all, we look for confidence, because without confidence, it's very difficult to handle a 300 audience. Secondly, material content, how they deliver that content. It's got to be funny, essentially. But initially, if somebody's very confident, they can build up, if they've got an interesting style